What's going on, Loomian Legacy enjoyers? It is I, Grary, descending from my heavenly plateau to upload probably my last Loomian Legacy video. Today I'm hunting for 10 hours in Loomian Legacy. The first 5 hours will mostly consist of hunting for the meteorite fragments that are able to be found during this event, with a bit of hunting. And the last 5 hours will consist mostly of me hunting. Before we start, I'd like to mention only 51.4% of people are subscribed to me, and if you aren't a part of that big number, you can make it even bigger. Subscribing is free and it helps me out a lot. Without further ado, let's get to hour number 1. Hey, it's Grary, and before this video does begin, I'd like to give a huge shout out to all the people who do hunt for hours on end. They sit at their monitor, or whatever they play on, for hours, maybe even days on end, looking for something. And it may sound like I really hated this, and I did, but I'd like to give a huge shout out and make it look like I'm not disrespecting them, because I'm not in any way. My RNG was really bad this first hour. I only got 26 blue meteorites, and as you see there, I found a dusket, which is a roaming, and it was the only thing I found. Meteor showers happen on different routes, so I needed to develop a strategy to cover the most amount of land while getting some encounters. And that is why I got very successful with my findings in this second hour, and it looked something like this. As you see, I used a repellent right there, and that was probably my downfall in the first hour, because I was trying to use that to get more meteorites, less encounters. But as I figured out, I was wasting about 2 repellents per trip, so I decided to stop using that and just get encounters. As you see right here, I found a Cosmeor, an event exclusive that you can only find during this meteor event. It is a 1 in 128, and it's my first rare find this second hour. Right here I find a Very, which is basically the Eevee of Loomian Legacy. It is a 1 in 100 chance, and there are a lot more that I find in the next couple of hours. Right here I find a Pyramid, which is a 1 in 300 chance of appearing. I also learned that Rant, the move that Pyramid uses right here, has a pretty cool animation. I encountered another Very, the second of this hour. A couple minutes later, I find another Very, which I'm like, that's pretty cool! As the sun is beginning to rise, that means hour 2's over, and it's time to begin our next hour, which is on Route 4, which I only get 1 encounter, 2 encounters per route that I run. So it wasn't as encounterful as these last 2 hours were. Hours 3 and 4 aren't really that exciting since they were on routes with not so many encounters, so I'm just going to give you guys the totals. But I did find a corrupted Geklo sometime in hour 4. Free shard! And the purple meteors were in hour 3, and that is my favorite type of meteor color. For hour 5, I was on Route 3, but I was only recording for 30 minutes, so I'll just give the information for the 30 minutes I did record. I found this Protagon, which is a roaming, and it was the only rare thing I found in the 30 minutes of recording for hour 5. In hour 1 of hunting, I found a lot more, but the only thing I recorded me finding was a Pyramid. But here's a screenshot of everything else I found. I found an Alpha Geklo, a Pyramid, which you just saw, another Alpha Geklo, an Alpha Shachi, and a Very. Right here, I find a Very, my first encounter in hour 7. A couple minutes later, I find a purple Cosmeor. And then, about 10 or 20 minutes later, I find a Alpha Geklo, which is my first Alpha of hour 7. Oh my gosh! I found one! A Gamma! My gosh! Whoa! And then 10 minutes later, oh! I found another! Whoa! And then I find a green Cosmeor. My first green Cosmeor of this event. And apparently in my notes it said this was my last encounter for the hour, and I found a green Cosmeor. So that's pretty cool. I'm sorry I lied. This Alpha Geklo was my last encounter of the hour. Right here I find a Very first encounter of hour 3. Well, all my recordings did not save from hour 4 and 5, so I'm just going to give you what I found those 2 hours. I found a Very, but I ran away, an Alpha Geklo, then a Very, an Alpha Cattle, I don't know what that one is, a Cosmeor, an Alpha Twiddle, and that ended hour 4. And then hour 5, I found a red Cosmeor, a Very, a Pyramid, and an Ikazoon. And that ends it. And here is what I got from the last 5 hours of grinding.